Do you believe in a God? If yes, who or what is that God?
I believe in God. I believe in the triune God of Jesus Christ, and I am a United Methodist, so I believe that, like many Christian faiths, Jesus died on the cross for our sins to repair a broken world.
Okay. From where do you get your moral code? In other words, what is your basis for right and wrong?
A lot of it comes from the Bible and what we are taught, but I wasn't raised in a Christian home, so a lot of it is also what I've gleaned from my community and my family and things like that. So I think that most of my choices are based on the grounds of, like, is this what God is calling me to and what God would want for me? But it's also based off of what I've been raised on and what I know.
What do you think is the most important moral/ethical issue of our day?
I think, at least in Christianity, the biggest tension we face is this idea of loving people who don't follow the moral code which we stand by, and so I think we as Christians struggle deeply with loving our neighbor, especially when they differ from us, and it's difficult because Jesus did not have that hard of a time loving people. He just loved everybody, but because we're so flawed, it's really easy for us to decide that there are certain people not deemed worthy of love, and we don't love them, even though Jesus would never look at it that way.
What are your views on this moral issue?
My views are that we as Christians, especially Americans, are really, really bad at loving people. I mean, you look at a lot of things. You look at how people feel about gay rights, how people feel about abortion, how even people feel about different races, and we get so stuck in our own ways and what we think is right that if someone doesn't agree with us, we forget to love them.
Do you think abortion is okay? Why or why not?
I do think abortion is okay. I think that it's not a decision I would make for myself, I don't think, but it's hard to ever put myself in that position unless it were to actually happen. I think that even if people don't believe in God, that God is intentional about where we end up in life, and I think if I were to make that choice, I would know that it would be hard and that it's something that would stick with me, but I also would know that God doesn't hate me for it, and not necessarily that I need to be forgiven, but that I'm accepted regardless of what that choice would be.
What are your views on gay rights, and why are those your views?
My views are very similar on gay rights. I think that we as Christians get really caught up in essentially, is it sinful or not? And we get so lost in that debate that we forget that they're people. I've committed countless sins today. I mean, I probably lied at least 10 times. It just happens. We naturally sin. And somehow in our books, being gay is worse. At least the general Christian, I don't think that is worse. So I think that it's complex. I don't think I fully understand it by any means, but I think that we as Christians have a terrible reputation for not loving those people well, and I think they're just as worthy of God's love, and often sometimes better actors on the sake of Christ for what it means to be a Christian. They're often much more patient and loving and understanding of what it's like to be persecuted than I will ever be.